Holy crap. What a week. The Panda game never fails to deliver. More importantly, Campbell Fair never fails to deliver. That's right. We'll get to it, but beyond midfield, and he stripes a game winner with the clock expiring. We've seen it before from him. This is nothing new for Campbell Fair, but it's just so impressive every time it happens. All right, let's start at the beginning. Toronto McMaster, week 6. Here we go. Okay, what I want to talk about with this one, going in. We talked about Keegan Hall needing to not turn the ball over. We talked about Toronto. Who the hell is going to be the quarterback for the rest of this season? We've seen Kinsale-Phillips have 2 short leashes, Scott Barnett come in. Is it time that Scott just gets the start and gets a chance to play? Well, we got answers to both questions. Scott did get to play. Second quarter, nice 30-yarder to Nigel Good. Keegan Hall started the game pretty strong, a rushing touchdown in the first quarter, but then the turnovers started. And it wasn't that Keegan Hall had 3 interceptions and Sistanovic had 1. But it was the fact that 2 of Keegan Hall's interceptions went back for touchdowns. And Toronto added a blocked punt for a touchdown too. So 21 points of Toronto's 33 coming by way of the defense and special teams. And as Greg Marshall has been at the helm for this Toronto team, with Bob Mullen on the defensive side as well, there have been 2 things really imperative with this team. Strong play on special teams and a turnover forcing defense. Whether that, or negative plays, more importantly, with sacks or big plays. They may get gashed for some rush yards. They may get gashed for some pass yardage, but they're going to generate turnovers and swing momentum and give their offense field position. Or just say, you know what, offense, we don't really need a whole lot of points today from you because we're going to outscore our opponents on our own. And with the offense, Scott did not have to do a whole lot. Adam Williams, 10-85. Scott had 8 for 55. Lucas Stoico, 7 for 41. They only completed 6 passes on the day, but when your defense has 3 touchdowns, you don't need to do a whole lot. So with Toronto, win 1 in the books. They're now tied with McMaster, 1-5 or 1-4. Toronto, McMaster, 1 win as well on the season. McMaster, there's some overarching questions that I'm going to get into later this week with All Canadian with regards to McMaster and their future plans. But this team looks to be reeling. The turnovers keep on coming, but the yardage is still there. The offense is still pushing the ball, just really hurting themselves each and every week. But the Varsity Blues pick up win number 1 this year, and that is good enough for them this week. All right, next game, Queens York. Jared Cesari. Do I have to say anything else? It was 87-0 for the Queens Golden Gales. Listen to this stat line. 17 carries, 286 yards. So that's an average of 17 a carry. Oh, wait, and he added 5 touchdowns. The Queens running backs altogether, 8 freaking touchdowns. 8 on over 400 yards rushing. 462 to be precise. This team said, we are going to find our identity today. We have taken a loss at Windsor. We took a loss against Western. We need to get back to Golden Gale football, and that is running the ball, playing astounding defense, and really forcing teams into stuff they don't want to be in, down big, with us leaning on our offensive line to push the way. Defensively, Braden Jupe, Owen Webb each had 2 interceptions. This Queens defense, they have been great all year. They have been keeping this team alive as we go. Some different guys in and out of the lineup this week, but they're going to get healthy as they go into this playoff stretch. So for them, it's just about finding their identity, building to that moment. And when they get all of their guys back, it's going to be a show. Queens is not gone. Don't count them out just because they have the 3 losses to, quite frankly, the other top 3 teams in the league. For York, Melchus Alongo, we said that he was still the lifeline of the offense. Him and Owen Webb had done well together. Queens defense obviously presents a huge job for the offensive line and a run game to get going. The Lunga, 11 for 15. Offensively, they did not get much going. Queens, Jared Cesari, all over them in this one. All right, Waterloo, Guelph. Wow, this one turned. Listen to this last quarter, okay? So it's 8-11 for the Guelph, or for Waterloo. Cole Crossett adds a field goal. All of a sudden, oh wait, we have life. Marshall McCray, 2 touchdowns. Okay. Guelph has the lead. Waterloo responds. Anthony Miller, who had a day in himself, 229 yards offensively. If Jared Cesari didn't score 5 touchdowns, this would have been our offensive player of the week pick. But Anthony Miller responds. Crossett adds a field goal with time at 1 second to give them the lead again. Ensuing kickoff, Guelph's trying to make something happen. Fumbled lateral, returned for a touchdown. Waterloo adds to the win. But for Waterloo, that last 2 minutes where they put up a touchdown, Cole Crossett gets home. That was a big statement for Waterloo. Now they are really sitting in the driver's seat as we look at the standings for this season. Coming down the back stretch, Waterloo 2-3. They have to play Toronto, but if they beat Toronto in this one, they can really contend with Queens and Carleton for those final playoff spots. It's a 3-way mashup, but if they knock off 1 or 2 of those games on their upcoming schedule, they can certainly make a run. For Guelph, Aboud, solid day, 9 of 17, 88 yards. He did have an interception. Marshall McCray, he's a threat all over the field. We know that, but this time he got the passing touchdown as well. Denavian Malloy continued to be a handful for teams to kind of limit. He had another 70-yard run again. But this one's all about Waterloo. The resiliency of this offense with Nick Orr. He did not have a stellar day. 30% completions, 100 yards, a pick. But when you're running the ball with Anthony Miller and Quinton Springer like they have all year long, 300 yards between the 2 backs, it's going to be tough for teams to stop. And then you get threats like Basiliga over the top with a 68-yard catch as well. Cole Crossett, 3 of 4, 2 extra points, a rouge. He makes the difference in this one. And of course, the final touchdown at the end. So let's move on. Western Windsor. This is the game I had said in my Thursday episode with All Canadian. I'm expecting Western to play Western football here and see if Windsor can hang around. Well, Western did not play Western football offensively. Defensively, they did. Special teams, the Giovanni Cunningham punt return touchdown. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to lay it in right now. It was phenomenal. It was the difference in the first half. It gave Windsor all of the momentum. But for all the momentum they held, they could not break through that defense. Jackson Finley was everywhere. And I mean everywhere. A pick on the sidelines, a PBU from the slot, an interception over the middle, a sack, a bunch of tackles. He could not be stopped. And at the half, it was 10-8 for Windsor, even though they had this amazing punt return and had all of the momentum and were hemming in the offense. Western came out, scoreless third quarter, but you could tell they were starting to piece it together. Hillock started to move the ball. Keon Edwards averaged 7 yards on the day. I saw some comments saying, well, he didn't go over 100. 80 yards plus his contributions in the passing game puts him up over 100 yards. With Yazbek's contributions as well in the run game, they had a good day. But Evan Hillock was a story. When they loaded up and went against a top flight defensive front like they did in the Queen's Gales, now they get the same kind of team in Windsor. What happens? Evan Hillock takes command of the offense. 21 of 28, 250, a touchdown. He had a couple key scrambles as well to kind of move the chains or make it second and manageable for them. This team is built the same way they have been year in, year out. When you load the box, they have such dynamic playmakers in Mosin, Jamal, Savon Magne-Jones. Seth Robertson, seemingly a touchdown or two every game this season. They are phenomenal. It is a team to watch out for. Windsor will get another shot, but for Windsor, the run game has sputtered. The last couple weeks have been very difficult against Ottawa, Queens, Western. 3 of the top rushing defenses in the country. But Laurier isn't going to be a slouch either. And if you want to get to where your goals are for the Lancers, that rushing attack needs to find a way to get going. Because when it's a one-man show with Danny Skelton, we saw the last couple of weeks him kind of take command and have success. But 2 interceptions, both to Jackson Finley, 18 of 35. It's a much different Windsor offense when they are forced into that one dimension. All right. Final game, the Panda game. I can't believe that this one came down to the wire. Just kidding. It's a Panda game. It seems to always come down to the end. But Campbell Fair, Josh Jansen, who took a big hit early on, came back in the game through 2 touchdown passes. He started the last 2 games for Ottawa. They have looked strong with him in command. He's completing a bit higher percentage than we saw with Lecandro after the Miracle injury. Still had 2 picks, but he gives them some balance and, more importantly, gives room for Amaclar Polk to get going in the offense and in the ground game without teams teeing off on him and loading the box with 8-9 defenders. Melançon, Gendron certainly can take advantage of man coverage, but they need accuracy from the pocket, and they've gotten that in Jansen. But Campbell Fair, for a quiet day, the 55-yarder, I don't know if anyone has seen it, but some Carleton fans tried to run on the field. They thought, NFL rules, clock hits 0, game's over. No. Clock hit 0, final play of the game. So they ran on. Campbell was almost ready to kick, had to come back. But for Fair, 5 years, 5 straight Panda game wins. A few walk-off field goals as well mixed in there. The Ottawa defense, though, this is what has to be brought up. They have been keeping this team in games, alive, even with the quarterback injuries, rotations, new guys coming in and out. Is the run game going to go? Is the run game going to be stomped out? Tristan Lefebvre has his lowest passing yardage. Alex Gale and Josh Ferguson had a good day running the ball, but they could not convert into touchdowns. After Kasim Ferdinand, Ronaldus had a touchdown run in the 4th quarter to take the lead. But that was first drive to second last drive. There's a whole lot of Ottawa GG's defense. And Ronaldus had a touchdown run in the 4th quarter to take the lead. But that was first drive to second last drive. There's a whole lot of Ottawa GG's defense. And they kept this team in there for 3 quarters, waiting and waiting and waiting for their opportunity to take advantage. And listen to some of these tackles from the box. Max Charbonneau, leading tackler in the OUA, 9.5 again. Braden Krugy, Napa knee product, 6.5. Eric Cumberbatch, 6 from the half. This team flies to the football. It was a big group effort. They had to have everyone in for this one, and it paid off with Pedro staying with the Garnet and Gray. That's it for this week. We've got Thanksgiving coming up this weekend, so stay tuned. The games are mainly on that Friday night, and Saturday we've got one going from TD Place. So check your calendars, check to see if your teams are playing at home. I will be teeing those ones up closer to, but stay tuned as we get going.